If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Bill Gates recently interviewed once again about the upcoming vax, which will be forced upon the American people, but will be taken willingly by most just to get back to what they believe or perceive as a normal way of life, when things will never be normal again. But you've got to hear, when asked the question about the testing results that have gone on so far and how such a high percentage of people who have been tested and gone through the volunteered to be tested for the vax have had massive and major side effects. Now, they only mention fevers and chills, which really is pretty much what they claim that you're supposed to feel, and shortness of breath with this if you catch this virus anyway. They don't mention the real dangers and what will really happen when you take it, but he almost laughs it off and dismisses it. And not only that, he says a few things that are important to listen to. He mentions how in the FDA we trust, which is extremely frightening, and I'm going to show you why, because the FDA is more corrupt than the CIA or any other organization. They're the ones who allow weed killer to be put in our food, and somehow it gets through inspection and approved, and people get sick and die. No big deal, right? So we'll trust in them. We'll trust in the fact that it might not work and people might get sick from it, but we should do it anyway. And then he has the nerve to say how everybody needs to get it at least twice. And I guarantee you this is going to become a yearly thing where you need to get it every year. They're going to start off voluntarily, because I guarantee you 70% at least of the population in America will say, I'll get it, I'll take it. The rest of us will be enemies of the state. That's how this is going to work. Eventually, they'll say that the numbers don't go down, and they'll force us to get it. But listen to the nerve of this guy as he tries to hold back laughter.
Well, I want to ask you, you mentioned side effects. The side effects for the Moderna vaccine sound concerning. We looked. After the second dose, at least 80% of participants experienced a systemic side effect, ranging from severe chills to fevers. So, are these vaccines safe?
Well, the FDA, not being pressured, will look hard at that. The FDA is the gold standard of regulators, and their current guidance on this, if they stick with that, is very, very appropriate. And you know, the side effects were not super severe. That is, it didn't cause permanent health problems for the things there. Moderna did have to go with a fairly high dose, and so to get the antibodies. Some of the other vaccines are able to go with lower doses to get responses that are pretty high, including the J&J and the Pfizer. And so there's a lot of characteristics of these vaccines. It's great that we have multiple of them that are
Bill,
going out there. And yes, I think
you know the data
US
better than I do. But the data showed that everybody with a high dose had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not dramatic, where it's just super painful. But yes, we need to make sure there's not severe side effects. The FDA, I think, will do a good job of that, despite the pressure.
How many doses of the vaccine will we need?
Well, none of the vaccines at this point appear like they'll work with a single dose. That was the hope at the very beginning. Maybe one of them, particularly in the second generation, won't surprise us. We hope just 2, although in the elderly, sometimes it takes more. And so making sure we have lots of elderly people in the trial will give us that data.
You've said some more than 7 billion doses. That's what we'll need.
Well, if what you're trying to do is block all the transmission, then you need to get, 70, 80% coverage on a global basis. So that, it's unbelievably big numbers.
I mean, you're talking about a global vaccination program without a vaccine that hasn't been fully developed yet, and a massive scaling up of how to produce one or several vaccines. I mean, it's mind-boggling to think about this effort.
But the private companies have stepped up. The science has been advanced. The U.S. funds biological research more than any other country. We've stepped up to fund these vaccine manufacturers. The plants are being worked out now. In 2021, there's a good chance this can get done. And because, this is about the billions that we need to spend to save trillions and avoid all those deaths.
But who's going to get the vaccine first?
That's in discussion. Clearly, the U.S., by funding factories in the U.S., will get priority. But if we can have other factories, and this is where the U.S. government's traditional generosity in global health will be needed, our foundation will be needed, other countries. We want to make sure that we don't have people dying just because they can't afford to have access to the vaccine. And so that speaks to the top priority of our foundation. And there's good discussions going underway. The U.S. in this next relief bill may put 1% of it to make sure we stop the pandemic in the entire world, and then that'll draw other countries into that effort.
I want to ask you about today, the government support, taxpayer money that's going towards vaccine development. Today, we learned Pfizer is going to get nearly $2 billion, Moderna receiving $438 million in taxpayer money. And yet both companies have said they will not sell the vaccine at cost. They're going to make a profit on it. Should pharmaceutical companies profit off this vaccine research that taxpayers have helped fund?
Well, the Pfizer case is more of a procurement agreement than an R&D funding agreement. AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson have said they're going to use a non-profit construct. The exact contracts that were negotiated, I don't have access to. But yes, you'd want to balance the fact who's taking the risk and who gets the benefit of those things. It's fantastic that the research is being funded. And, I hope those agreements in terms of pricing and access are very strong.
Now, let me ask a question for the people out there who think that we're all crazy nuts. Would you put something in your body that was not going to be 100% proven to work, even if it was 90% proven to work? Would you be willing to put that in your body knowing that there could be extreme side effects? Would you? Because then you probably need to be committed somewhere. Why would you put poison in your body if it's proven and they admit that it's not necessarily going to work? And that's exactly what happened with the flu. People were going, you know what? Why am I getting this shot if doctors are even coming out and saying 50% of the time it doesn't work? But idiots still lined up and got their shots. Then they'd still get the flu and they'd still go back the next year to get the shot. Huh? No, that makes perfect sense. Some people would be perfectly fine, get the shot, and then get the flu a week later and not even connect the dots. Can you imagine the side effects that are going to come of this? And then they want you to get it twice, not once, twice. And they talk about how big pharma and how much money they're going to make. Look, that's not what the end game is here, because they print money. And I know that people on the right will talk about the money in the pharmaceutical game. This is about depopulation. That's what they care about. They don't care about cash. They don't care about cryptocurrency. They don't care about this electronic currency. They know what's coming next. They print it. Money shows up in their bank account. They want to destroy the American people, and they want to destroy the people worldwide because they want to depopulate. They make you think in your mind that we live in an overpopulated world. And I've said it a trillion times. Drive cross country, go through Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa. You will drive for hours and hours and hours, and there's nothing but empty land. But what they do is they congest people into cities. The city's always the backdrop in every movie. The city's always the place where the action's happening. And they pretend these other places don't exist. And then when somebody goes, I would love to move to Montana, they go, why would you want to move there? There's nothing to do. There's no club scene. There's no bars. There's no partying. That's not where it's happening. You got to go where the celebrities are and everyone else. They want to depopulate even though there's plenty of space. And the second thing that's just laughable in the words that come out of this demon's mouth is talking about how we have to trust in the FDA. Are you kidding me? The FDA. You want to put the CIA at the top of the most corrupt organizations in the world? That's fine. You want to put the cabal, the CIA, and the Mossad up there? Don't forget about the FDA. These are the people who are supposed to watch and protect what goes into our food from these food manufacturers. And they've been caught over and over and over. And I don't even need to get into Monsanto. Let's just get into weed killer. You ever go to Home Depot or Lowe's? For those youngsters out there, you're probably not picking weeds or into that stuff yet. Well, they have this product called Roundup. And what it is you spray it on weeds and it murders weeds. But don't get it too close to a tree or a bush because it'll probably kill it. Because that chemical will go down into the roots and rot it. But that's okay, right? To mix in with your Cheerios or your Alphabet cereal, right? Sprinkle some on. We're all conspiracy nuts. So when I do videos on stuff like that, and it's even in the news because there's such big lawsuits, they can't even avoid it, where there's millions of people in class action lawsuits suing these companies because of the Roundup that's been found in the food that's poisoned their children, not only made their children sick, caused them lifelong diseases, caused things like, just all types of diseases that they're never going to recover from without medication, but also caused death. And this is the FDA we're going to trust to approve the vax, despite our early results that tell us, ooh, it's making people sicker. No one's going to care. No one's going to listen because they trust in Big Brother. They love in Big Brother. And it's what I always say, right? They think in their heads, why would somebody want to do this to someone else? Because normal human beings with good intentions and good hearts have a tough time comprehending the wicked that exist. And that's why naive people get walked on. And that's how these criminals get away with this stuff, because people give them the benefit of the doubt. And they go, well, that's only in movies. Oh, satanic rituals. Oh, people hating other people to the point where they would like to see the population destroyed and killed. But that's the truth of the matter. That's what these people want and are trying to do. And the FDA is at the top of the list because they'll allow anything to go into the food. They'll allow you to take a dump and mix it in with the food. They don't care as long as they don't get caught. And when they do get caught, they're just going to go, oopsies. Just like in the CIA. Oh, the CIA was running tests on people's brains, creating Manchurian candidates, running MK Ultra tests, enslaving people. Oh, no big deal. The CIA can stay in business and still be, an organization that's here to protect us. Huh? It's a joke. But then again, we have the fluoride in the water, the chemicals in the food. We have a passive society that only gets triggered when they're told to be triggered. Over, monuments and things like that, they get triggered, but they don't care that they're getting poisoned from the FDA and Big Brother. Oh, there's a monument up. We better go tear it down. Who cares? How about these guys who are killing us and poisoning us, who want this vax to be mandatorily put in us? It's a sick, disgusting, depraved world because of these sick and disgusting people that exist. So Gates laughing it off for the most part. Oh, it doesn't matter if they don't, there's going to be some results that might, cause side effects. That's life. Then no one should be putting it in their body. How's that? That seems like a simple freaking answer. Can't believe that people buy into this. I can't believe people think it's a conspiracy about, depopulation and stuff when they say it themselves. It's another joke. Thank you guys for listening to today's show. I want to thank the Patreons out there again for your support. And again, if you haven't checked out the website at callforanuprising.com, it's $2.99 a month. Check it out. It's a great forum, a great place to interact with each other, fellowship, make friends, like-minded people talk, not be censored. So check it out if you haven't. I want to thank all you guys again for your continued support here on YouTube. Love you guys. And thank you again. God bless you and your families.